What is good, my people? We are live, back with another live show, back on the forecast. Yeah, I appreciate all of y'all for watching. I appreciate all of y'all for listening. Um, First of all, let me say this. I'm going to work on the videos and all of that stuff, but I gotta apologize to the people. I haven't been putting them out there like I need to be. But I'm trying to finish up the first part of the book, so it takes a lot of time to do these videos, so but they will be coming soon. So I appreciate everybody patience and showing love, and the people who asked about them. You can still go on the Forecast Radio 24 and make sure y'all subscribe to that channel. um y'all can definitely go on there and check out the other videos. So yeah, definitely. I appreciate all y'all for listening. What's going on, my brother Jermaine? But I definitely want to hear y'all call in and to get y'all opinion, because I know y'all probably more up on what's going on right now, but I'm gonna just get right into it. I'm pretty sure, and there's a couple things I want to talk about. First, we do, well, not first, but we do have to eventually address what's going on in Haiti. And shout out to the people. And I have some followers who have family out there, so shouts out to them. So we definitely can address that. So if anybody want to call in and speak on that, you could definitely do that. And also, what's going on over there in Afghanistan with the Taliban taking over. Now, let me say this first, right? I'm in no way am I going to ever be caping for a Arab person. You know what I'm saying? And just because I talk about the system of white supremacy that we are in, um, yeah, it's not really my thing. But you know, I'm still not forgiving nobody, and we still have to understand and make people pay for the Arab slave trade that was before the Europeans. So in no way am I caping for any of this. But today, while I was on Facebook, you just go through and you see so many, especially black people, posting about how Russia, China, right, Pakistan, all of these places is sitting there co-signing the Taliban, and all of these black people is talking about, quote unquote, what is we gonna do, right? We all gonna die. We all gonna this. We all gonna that, right? Now, first of all, it's not your problem, right? You should probably want that, because you are have to recognize the situation that you're in, right? They give you just enough comfortable, you have just enough luxury to where you aren't mad enough to do something about the situation that you're in. Meanwhile, you're in full control at the bottom of society, because they do that to their own people as well. They keep them as voluntary servants, but you are on the bottom ladder of that right now. Of course, in America propaganda, you're going to see like the Taliban is terrorists. They took over the country, right? And good old Joe Biden, they blaming Joe Biden for this one, how he pulled out. Now, it's Trump and Biden together, because it's a whole system that works together, right? And it's probably them destabilizing the country, right? Because they just left all of the troops and stuff. And, well, they pulled out all of the troops, left guns and all of the stuff for them to take, so that they can take over the city. But in reality, like, we've been seeing them talk about the Taliban for how many years now? And of course, it's going to be their propaganda, right? But I got news for you. If you were to get your way and to be establishing your own government and all of that kind of stuff, you would be on the news the same way the Taliban is. You would be called literally the Taliban. Now, China got their reasons for backing them. Um, you know, Russia got their reasons for backing them, and it's all comes down to economics. But at the end of the day, right, when you are in charge of your own and you don't bow down to European deities, European laws, Europeans, whatever, you are labeled a savage, right? You are a terrorist, you are a threat, because to them, it's not civilized unless it's Europeanized. And we always talk about we should go to the UN. Malcolm X said we should go to the UN. And what does the UN have to say? You know, the UN in reality can't really do anything. Well, they can if they want to. But we got to discuss how they actually took over their government. Now, of course, we got to realize that other people were definitely involved. It was definitely a bigger plan involved. And we see a lot of stuff going around in different countries. And that's another thing, part of Haiti. We just seen what happened in Haiti. And now they're facing a devastating earthquake that will probably cripple them again, right? But we don't have any kind of movement set to where we can maintain our people around the globe. And the problem is we get caught up on tribal differences, because I can guarantee you a Frenchman and a German and an Englishman is not going to sit up there and say, I come from a different country when it comes to oppressing you, when it comes to taking your stuff, when it comes to taking your land and making you work for them. They're not going to say, I come from a European country and I can't get on code with you. They're going to say, no, let's get on code. What's going on, Melanin? Always, how you doing, my sister? Yeah, and y'all can call in, by the way, if y'all got an opinion on, what's going on with the Taliban, or if y'all got an opinion on what's going on in Haiti. But I can guarantee you that they're not going to say, well, I'm not going to work with you if you are going to say that you're from a different country, because we're all Europeans. Now, we can find that common ground if we really wanted to. Is how bad do you want freedom to find that common ground? Because we always talk about, well, they control everything. They have more people. We're outmanned, outgunned. The Taliban was outmanned, outgunned. They fought a war against America, and you see that they won. And now that the stuff is reversed, they took over their own government. Now, I'm not caping for them at all. They're, off breed, psychopath, you know, Europeans. But how bad were they willing to get what they get? Now, you see that they are willing to do deals, and everybody is going to be mad. But first of all, we got to stop tying ourselves up in other people's society when we can't even deal with the troubles in our own society. So how are we talking about we, right? You see, every group right now is making some kind of strive for power right now. And you see that they will do whatever it takes to get that power. Now, of course, no matter where you come from, because if you ask the Pakistani leader, he said it seems like a bunch of slaves taking their freedom or something like that. However, he said it, I don't really care. But he said there were slaves finally getting their freedom, rising up out of slavery. That's what he called the Taliban takeover. Because how do you know which group is righteous, which group is not? And that's based off what they tell you. Because they tell you this group is righteous, this group is not righteous. But You have to understand that with change, there's going to be pandemonium. There's going to be chaos, right? There's no way around it. Has never worked to topple communist regimes. Well, it's irrelevant because, you see when there's a change in power, right? And that's just what you get from what you see, but right? At the end of the day, we are humans, but we have to understand we are going to resort to primal instincts. And when you don't have nothing to eat, you're going to do something to go get something to eat. And somebody else cannot ensure your protection. Nobody else but you can ensure your protection. Now, these countries talk about they give you protection in lands that literally the law enforcement can take your life with no problem, right? These are your protections. But you right now you are at the mercy of those protections. And you see with regime changes, there's often well like the media like to focus on, there's violence that comes along with that, right? There's pandemonium, and some people aren't going to agree with that, right? Because if you was to take over right now downtown Los Angeles or something, then you are going to have refugees running out of that place saying these are a bunch of terrorists taking over, when the whole time it could have erupted because you was finally fed up and then let somebody get killed, or you kick somebody out of your community, or you did not allow any disrespect of any kind and you just took over South Central Los Angeles or whatever place you want to take over. See, there's going to be refugees. They're going to say this terrorist group, this organization did this and this. The media is going to tell you what you want to see, what you have to see. But if you are in a position where you need to do things for yourself and to take power for yourself, you need to see how other people have taken power. You need to see how other people have gone against larger governments, because it's simple, right? Once people start losing the hope, that larger outmanned advantage starts to fade. It don't matter how many people they got, right? You can go back to Haiti where Bonaparte sends thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of troops, and they all was getting shipped back in coffins and body bags. You know what I'm saying? It's not about who has the strongest army, because once the people no longer believe in the government, then the whole system collapses. And the person who controls the power will gain control of the resources, right? And the thing that legitimizes you is if other people are willing to work with you. But what you got to understand is naturally, it don't matter where you think you come from, no matter where you claim. If you are a black person, and that's what I would call a melanated person, is somebody who would get pulled over and identified as a black man or woman or child or whatever. But if you are a melanated person, you usually come from a place with a lot of natural resources. And you see how quickly that China is willing to work with the quote unquote Taliban terrorists so they can have access, so they can do their kind of slavery, which is debt slavery, which is really peonage, right? So you have control over places where you don't have to say that I work for another place or I have to do a deal with you. But if you sell yourself short and don't believe that you can do anything in the first place, then you're not going to stand on your own ground. Because where can you go anywhere on the world and find safety? Wherever you stand and draw the line and say, I'm not letting nothing come in here. That's where you find safety at. It's a mental thing first. But when there's a change, then of course people are going to get mad. But it's all about where you are as far as how the propaganda is going to be put out. What's going on, brother Bakar? All right, I'm gonna sing you a little bit, my brother. Hold on. They want access to our military equipment. The military, yeah, well, they actually do deals with these people, right? Because all revolution isn't necessarily quote unquote just a bloody revolution, right? You got to understand how these people work. They use deception and manipulation. Now, at the end of the day, that's what controls what's going on, but it's really controlled by deception because the boogeyman can only scare you if you think he's scary. But once you become an adult, you realize, oh, the boogeyman ain't nothing, right? I'm not scared to say Candyman in the mirror because I'm a grown man now. But when I was 5 years old, maybe I was scared of that. But a psychopath needs you to be scared of saying Candyman in the mirror. And see, we are afraid of really doing that because we will say, well, where can we go? What can we do? We can do whatever we want to do. The whole world right now is vying or trying to make a move for a change for power. And that's the only thing that we can do. The collapse has already begun. You're right. Well, what we have to really start accepting and understanding, and once we do, we'll be in a better position to move, is we've been collapsed for hundreds of years. We are still suffering under the old world order. We don't have to worry about the new world order. The old world order still got us under control, right? But like I said, if you was to take over Los Angeles, right, you don't think a whole bunch of Europeans, even Mexicans or whatever, and other black people will be fleeing out of this place? And they'll say, you see, there's black people fleeing from Los Angeles, so this cannot be a righteous movement. Meanwhile, this is murderers and killers telling you this, right? People who go in, destabilize governments, and if you don't want it their way, they destroy everything, and then so-called start a democracy in your place, but make sure that they have the access to the natural resources of that place, because that's the name of the game. And the end of the day, um brother Bakari, what's going on, Shanique? For if anybody want to chime in on this stuff too, I want y'all to call in. I want to hear what y'all got to say. I hope my sister Matilda called in because I know she got some family out there too. So I wanted her to tell us what's going on. My brother Bakar, what's going on, my brother?
Peace, bro. Thank you for inviting me on your show, my man.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You got anything to say about what I said so far?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I haven't. I heard you talking about the Taliban and not much of that. I'm being honest. I was having bad connections. So if you want to give me a synopsis right quick of what you was talking about.
Yeah, and let me know if y'all can hear me clear too. Like, what's going on, Raw? What's up, Blue? Um, I don't know if y'all can hear me clear, but I was basically just talking about how the Taliban took over whatever, and I was saying, right, gave an example, right? If we was to take over Los Angeles, right, you would be number one, the Taliban. You would see a bunch of white people, Mexicans, whatever, and other black people fleeing from the city, and they would be considered refugees. Right now, they would cut you off economically. They're not going to give you anything, but your protection starts where you draw the line. And that's at the end of the day, no matter what it is, because they blaming this whole Taliban stuff on Joe Biden, which the people's pick, the people's president, the lesser of two evils. But he's just following along with a deal with Trump, which shows you it really doesn't matter, right? So you can get off the Republican plantation too, right? But say you was to get off that plantation and start your own stuff, but they ain't gonna really let you. So you just take over LA, right? Now, how the people are responding is how the Taliban responding, and the only way you'll get power is right if you take over LA. So okay, well San Diego recognizes your power, or whatever, other city recognizes your power, then the state of California recognizes your power. You know what I'm saying? But I know I'm kind of all over the place, but you know,
No, you good, you good, you good. You're right. We would be the Taliban if that was us trying to take over. Shit, in all honesty, we can learn from the Taliban. We can learn. I don't even know what they're fighting about, but we can learn that it's not okay for whatever is going on. It's not okay for people to lay there and allow other people to treat you bad. You understand what I'm saying? Uh, we have to learn which fight. We have to understand this is not our fight. I hate the fact that they say Uganda reached out and said like 200 Afghans could come to Uganda for what? That's not our fight. What's going on over there? That's not black people fight. My thing is, I want my enemies to fight one another. Go ahead, take one another out. It has nothing to do with us. You feel me? This has nothing to do with African people. But we can learn. We can learn from this if we want, because we don't want to learn from our fights. Because whenever we talk about us doing something back, like JB just put in the chat, we already know what they'll do to us. We are defeated mentally. You understand? They would bombard and use drones. Okay, shit, they doing it anyway. So I guess if we lay and take it, some of us will survive. So, but the power that we see, we don't search for power here. You said if we took over LA, and then San Diego can recognize your power because you got complete control of this, and other places can recognize your power because you got complete control of this. First of all, we have to want power and not equality. You understand? We are fighting for equality. Now we want to go get in this war. Like the thing you were showing me on Facebook. It's black people talking about what if the Taliban come here? Shit, they already here. So now let's say hypothetically, we the Afghan or we whoever, the white people, everybody in this country has been attacking us like Taliban. Or say we the Taliban in the rest of this country. If Afghanistan, see, we always looking and talking about instead of that keep us from understanding what we are going through in this country, even in our area where we live. And that's what we have to understand. While we're trying to reach out and want to give hands like the Palestine and Israel. I know people talking about let's stand with Palestine. For what? That ain't got nothing to do with me. When I was little, my mom and dad told me, mind your own business. You don't know what them people fighting for. That ain't got nothing to do with you. Leave that alone. Leave that alone. That have nothing to do with us. But we want to stick our nose into business while our enemies are actually taking each other out. All we got to do is sit back and relax because they're warmongers. All of them, the Arabs, the white Arabs, white Europeans, they're warmongers, right? So they're going to fight and kill and fight and kill. And all we have to do, since we don't want to fight for ourselves, get out of the way and don't fight for nobody. But like I said, I really don't know why. I really don't know exactly what's going on over there in Afghanistan. But I know the Taliban is going to be called terrorist. I know that. I know they're going to be called a terrorist. But why do people start to fight? Why do people feel a need to fight back? we have to look in that mirror and understand what's the need for us to fight back. You have to fight back in different ways. Like I said, see, this whole world has declared war on African blood people. You understand what I'm saying? This whole world. So we need to stay out of everybody else, mind our own business, and look in the mirror and see what strategy, like I say, unite, organize, and strategize, and see what we can use to build ourselves up. Because the people that like you mentioned, you mentioned Joe Biden and Donald Trump, right? People right now, they have to understand that there's no difference between these two. Not just with him sending troops and everything to Afghanistan. There's no difference between these two people, with the exception of one is Republican, the other one is Democrat, and they the same bird, different wings. You need left wing, right wing, left wing, right wing to fly, but they're the same thing. When everybody was saying this is what Donald Trump was going to do, lo and behold, it's what Sleepy Joe is doing. Sleepy Joe is sending people to Afghanistan. Sleepy Joe is sending the military over to the South China Sea to try to show military power. You understand? Sleepy Joe is, and everybody is showing their strength, not just over there in Afghanistan. Because trust me, it's going because what they say, China and Russia is willing to bag Afghanistan. It's going to be other countries getting involved. Everybody is showing their strength and their military power. Look what's going on in the South China Sea. Everybody is showing their strength and military power, except one group of people. Guess what people that is? Black people. Nowhere in the world. We have no power. We haven't tried to build any power to show that we can protect ourselves. It's not just here, it's in Africa, it's in Europe, it's in Asia. Wherever you find us, we are the ones who haven't even thought about building a military, building a militia where we can take care of ourselves, where we can protect ourselves, where we can protect our women, our children, and our elderly. So I'll say it again. There's lessons that we can learn from what's going on in Afghanistan, and there's lessons that we can learn from what's going on in the South China Sea. I'll get it, Mike.
Right. There's definitely lessons to be learned, and let me say this: I am in no way caping or standing up or even speaking positive about, the original, or the original castrators themselves. The Arabs. You know what I'm saying? They got to pay for what they did too. Like, we can't forget about that. But we're still in the system right now that we're in, and what you were saying, like, you don't know what was going on, like the president or whoever, whatever he is from Pakistan. He said that he is happy for the Taliban because this is a sign of their freedom. I don't know his exact quote, but he basically said they escaped from slavery. And this what this was, right? And that's why this is an important lesson. And at the end of the day, why does anybody fight, right? Because if somebody can shoot your children in the street, or you go sleep, somebody have your child turn up dead in somebody's attic and nobody go to jail for it, right? And that sounds like a good enough reason to fight to me. But the fact that black farmers don't get the funding they need because food is an essential part of that, that sounds like a reason to me. The fact that our diets and our education system and the system that we're living in, and the fact that we're all indentured servants, right? And that includes all of us, right? Not just black people, but it's irrelevant what other people going through, and it's irrelevant what they are going through. But the point is to be prepared in the case of a situation, because when you do stand up and get this what you need to get, there's going to be chaos, there's going to be uh, everything that you can imagine, and you have to start being prepared. But we are not in a situation where we could be unified as a collective to hold each other down, because you have places like Haiti, and like I said, I hope the sister call in. She got like family or something out there, and I think they got like affected bad. But you I heard them say on the news, right? Haiti has no FEMA, right? And we as a collective, if something happened to us here, we can't really do anything. If something happened anywhere collectively, we couldn't do anything. But there's really no excuse for that. The other day you was talking about Marcus Garvey's birthday, and you had a show celebrating Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey's plan does cover this. It's not like we have to reinvent the wheel. It's what is stopping us from being able to take over our situation. Because at the end of the day, right, the UN isn't going to do anything about the Taliban. The Afghan government gave them the keys to the city. They fled, right? The point is, they drew the line in the sand and said, we are going to get our situation. Now, they learned how to take advantage. What's going on, Erica Howard? They learned how to they took advantage in a situation where the U.S. possibly helped them for future gain. The U.S. is making some kind of move where they're destabilizing all kinds of governments, right? But they still capitalize on that situation, right? But we have a time upon us right now that instead of arguing and trying to find tribal divisions and more stuff to be divided about, for us to unify on the principle of our own safety, right? So we could walk on the street, so we could have our own economic growth and fund our own businesses and have our own everything, and know that a corporation like America isn't behind it. We aren't servants to a corporation. We have our own whatever it is we want to build. And you see right now, nations are making their moves. China is making this move. They are trying to do the same thing like they're doing in Africa, where they're trying to co-sign the Taliban so they could get in, economic debt kind of slavery on the people, right? Russia is trying to get in on the ground floor so that they could be a part of the natural resources of the area and capitalize that way. Europeans work not about right and wrong, it's about power and control of the natural resources that people need so that they can maintain wealth and dominance over everybody. And these countries are literally doing these things so they can maintain power. They are making their moves right now, but we are still talking about no justice, no peace, right? At some point, we're going to have to start taking steps, right? We don't have to quote unquote build Rome in a day, but it takes the first step and it will be built, right? If you build it, they will come. But you can go ahead, my brother.
Yep, you're right. We do have to look and see what we can do to control our situation. But the first thing we have to do is stop saying, as soon as we talk about us doing something, stop knowing what they're going to do to us. And that's why I'm going to mention these books again, just a few, so we can learn something different, so we can learn that we did stuff, so we can learn that we fought back and we won some of these battles. We need to learn that. Read the book, We Will Shoot Back. Please do. Read that book. Read the book. This nonviolent stuff will get you killed. Because I'm going to be honest, it get a little tiring sometimes. You know, every time we talk about doing something, we already know what they gonna do to us. Okay, so let's not get guns like the Taliban and fight back. How about stop going to those Arabs, East Indians, and Orientals in your neighborhood? That's a form of fighting. How about stop giving those people your money who absolutely hate your guts? That's a form of fighting. How about let's just take a stand? We're going to take a stand and say, we're going to protect our neighborhoods. We're going to stop letting people come into our neighborhoods and open businesses. This is our neighborhood. We're going to lock it down. That's a form of fighting. Let's stop trying to shame black people, saying, "Ooh, you're a racist," because don't nobody call me racist more than black people, right? Nobody call me racist more than black people. Stop trying to shame. Well, they can't shame me. I just go ahead and tell them, yeah, okay, that means I'm doing my job if you understand that. But stop trying to shame us for loving us more than we love anybody else. Get off this bandwagon trying to shame black people for being Pan African. I'm just giving you examples of ways we can fight back so we can just stop talking about every time we talk about doing something and it doesn't make no sense. It shows so much weakness. I don't understand why people don't understand it. Absolutely shows weakness and cowardice. And I have no respect for a coward. I understand why you're afraid, but that don't mean I have to respect it. Let's talk about the thing we can do without always talking about they gonna blow us up. If we do this, they gonna do this. Then they'll do this. Look what they did to Rosewood. Look what they did to Tulsa, Oklahoma. Look what they did to Wilmington, North Carolina. Okay, what did they do to Mount Bayou, Mississippi? People don't even know that story. You know why they don't know the story? They don't know the story because Mount Bayou, Mississippi was not burned down. We have to understand the reasons why they want you to see the history where you were destroyed, blown up, and burned down all the time. They couldn't burn down Mount Bayou, Mississippi. Mount Bayou, Mississippi built a militia. It was the first and last. It's the only all-black town in the country today, still standing, built in after slavery in 1800s. Isaiah T. Montgomery, he was the leader of it. See, there's other history that we have to learn, but as long as we hold on to, well, the guy who do the most whites, I don't call nobody name, but all this white supremacy teaching, and every time we look up is white supremacy. Well, why can't we do nothing? Because of white supremacy. What about this? That was white supremacy. God damn. What of our being? What do we control of our existence? If we don't control none of our existence, we may as well just die. If we can't take control of how we live, if we can't take control and work together, if we can't get past petty differences. Marcus Garvey said one time, and he called them great. Marcus Garvey said, the great white race, they will fight amongst one another, they have wars, and they will kill each other for power, for land, for money. But when it's time to go to war, they will put their fighting on hold long enough for them to take control. He said, but the black race, we will find one thing and we will argue about it for the next 100 years, and we have not accomplished anything in that process. We can't get past. People want to prove to you, well, I can't work with you because you say you're African. Okay, that's where my ancestors come from. I don't care where you say your ancestors come from. Where are we indigenous? Where are we FBA? Where are we ADOS? Where are we Moor? Where are we Hebrew? Well, I'm a Christian. You're a Muslim. We think of anything not to deal with one another, and we show our hatred toward one another loud every opportunity we get, all over social media, everywhere, because we want everybody to say, well, you know what? I want y'all to see I'm different than them. I'm different than them. See, look at us, we're different. Look at us, we're different. They African, we not African. Look at us, we're different. But the whole world sees us as the same, regardless of what you call yourself. When the whole world see a black person, they see black people the same. But we're not intelligent enough to say, you know what, this is my group, but my group gonna work with this group, and all our groups gonna work together in order for us to benefit from each other. And it's black people benefiting from one another, it's black people building together. I get it, mate.
Yeah, I feel you, my brother. And the thing is, and I do get understand because our identity has been completely destroyed, and as a people, we are searching for leaders, for identity. We are searching for all of these things, but we just gotta realize we can create an identity. We can do whatever. We can be who we want to be. You be that, and that's who you are, right? And of course, we gotta, you know, have more focus and work together. Because I'll tell you what, like, do you think a Frenchman and an Englishman will say, I can't really work with you against, Dr. Claude Anderson passing this law to uplift black economics, right? I can't really work with you to stop that because I'm from France and you're from England, so we can't do that. We are the only group that does that, but why do we do that? It's a psychological thing because at the end of the day, when you get past the talking and all of that stuff, you have to face reality. And the reality is, can you feed the people? Can you clothe the people? Can you protect them? Because if you can, then they will follow you. And I promise you that they will follow you because the people are looking for a way of justice. It's just that are you going to get on code or find a way? We just make it so spooky. And yeah, we definitely need to talk about history. And I talk about history all the time, but we are at a point where it's time for us to make history, right? It's time for us to be the generation to get us over the hill, to set our children up to be able to create their own society, to run it the way they want to run it. And if we can get out here and say, vote or die and get all these people to get out here and vote for Joe Biden, there's no excuse why we can't get out here and vote for um successful black people to run economics or make economic plans or have an infrastructure. Why we can't say we vote on whatever area it is that we need if we can get out there and vote for all of these other things. And at the end of the day, right, it's not about the Taliban being able to vote because our even back in 2001 when they had the terrorist attack and all of that stuff, and of course everybody got their conspiracy theories, but it's not about that. But when the Arab people start facing all of that racism, right away they cut it off. Right, they said we're not putting up with that kind of stuff. Now the Taliban still took over and still did what they had to do, and the point is, how bad are you willing to do that? Because it wasn't about voting for them to get, it was about politics. And politics is who controls the wealth, who controls the resources. And it's all about, politics. All right, definitely, Shanique. No, you create. I'm not saying vote in somebody else's system. I'm saying you create your own. You nominate your own leaders. Vote for the most successful black business people and put them in charge. If you can get out and vote for Joe Biden, you can definitely get out and vote for something of yourself. But we are afraid to, stock guns and bullets. My brother is working with a sister who's trying to, you know, distribute her own bullets. But when it comes to revolution, there will be bloodshed. But the irony is, there has always been bloodshed from day one. Um, right, we definitely all in the same boat. That's what we have to understand. Our tribal differences have to be put aside because they were able to do that during the Berlin Conference. There were bloody, savage wars over who was going to control us and our land and our people, no matter where you come from, because white supremacy is a global system, and you see that. But we have to start understanding politics and what comes behind all of this stuff, because the Taliban just wasn't out there shooting it up. They was out there politicking, right? They was out there making deals. And I'm not saying making deals with the devil, but if you can't make deals with yourself when you are in the places that control the natural resources, and I'll tell you what, you are dealing with people who don't care what kind of contracts they sign. They did whatever they want when it comes to treaties. That's the kind of world we living in. If you say, I don't want to uphold this thing. If Haiti would have said, "I'm not paying you a cent, we'll fight to the death," that's what it is, right? And one last thing for my brother was saying, getting them out your community. You can go right now, get everybody in your community, especially if we say we agree on that kind of stuff. We can go right now and say, you know, Chinese, Japanese, Arab, whatever. You are in our community making money, not investing nothing back in the community. You are selling people poison or whatever it is they're doing, and you got 24 hours to get out of here, or we're not letting nobody shop here, or even worse, we can get gangster, whatever it is. But you have to have the courage to do that. But you can do that right now if you really wanted to. But I'll let you go ahead, my brother.
You know, man, we gangster when it come to one another. It's almost we don't understand what it means to get gangster. We know what it means to stand out or be anywhere and disrespect one another, and we make like it's okay. No other people. And I'm gonna be honest. People say, "Well, I don't talk about white supremacy as much, right? Because I talk about the things that we can do. You understand? And things that we need to stop doing. We're the only people on earth that accepted a derogatory term and said we made it cool. We're the only people we're proud to say we the N word. But then if I ask people, don't call me that. I'm not that. Do not call me that. It's a problem. But then the same people, because I'm gonna tell you something, right? I really don't go around calling nobody derogatory terms. But I'm gonna show you something forecast. If you talk to a black person that uses the N word, don't in that process call white people crackers, call Mexicans wetbacks, call Chinese people Orientals, Chinks, Japs, call anybody in a derogatory name you want to, except black people. Watch out, the same black people that just call you the N word, who you told you don't like that word, but they can't stop and they won't stop. Watch how quick they turn and say something about you for calling other people derogatory names. Just watch. Just do it. Just try that experiment. I've done it several times. Call a homosexual a faggot or a dyke. The the system, the media, TV, radio has shown black people and have told black people it's okay to degrade yourself, but you better not degrade anyone else. How many people you hear on YouTube saying they don't call nobody else no derogatory terms because they don't want to get no strike on their channel, but then turn right around and start using the N word. See, man, we have to think about it in all honesty. It's what we want for ourselves, right? And I don't care what nobody in this chat think about Dr. Umar. 6, 7 years, Dr. Umar raised $750,000 to try to get a school. He has bought the building. People is still talking about how he scammed out of money trying to buy the building, right? A school for black kids. Do I think he could have done it smaller and went smaller from the beginning? Yes. Yes. I do, but that ain't what he wanted to do. And I think now it's like his arrogance and his ego won't let him do anything smaller. And that's okay to be arrogant, because I think you have to be a little arrogant, a little cocky to be good at what you do. 6, 7 years, $750,000. Tariq Nasheed, who's the biggest scammer on YouTube for his black people, got $1 million in about 2 months for a so-called hidden history museum. Now, forecast, just be honest. And not just Dr. Umar. Look at the brother, the young brother down in Albany, Georgia, the ex school for boys. He had raised $80,000. Just be honest, forecast. What's more important? A school so you can have your own school district, so we can teach our own kids, so we can teach our own kids, or a hidden history museum where it's just going to be, well, what do you think is more important? Just honest.
I say it's school.
So why is it the people that want to school or people out here that's creating businesses like me and Erica Howard is in the chat, and then part of another group we have created Metric Global Logistics. Why is it people like that who's actually want to do a school, creating businesses, showing black people businesses that you can start with $3,000 or less? Why is it we can't get the same support? Because we want entertainment and we need something to complain about. A hidden history museum where somebody gonna tell you you was an Indian. Watch this. He done jumped on it. And he done jumped on the guy bandwagon who teaching Native American stuff, right? Before that, he was on the ADOS bandwagon and switched from ADOS to FBA. Before that, he was on African history. He did the Haitian Revolution documentary. Before that, he did Hidden Colors. Do you see where I'm going with this? So let's go back to the Hidden Colors. Now, before the Hidden Colors, he was a pimp, writing books on telling you how to pimp women. The same man who said every black man should marry a mixed race child with a white mother because regardless of social status, a white woman is naturally a better mother than a black woman. But he got $1 million. He got $1 million for a damn museum. And if you say something about it, people get mad because he can entertain. Set up on a video the other day, somebody sent me, said there, you could have, the brother was from the United States. He told him, you could have so called it dude a ashy, knuckle Negro, look like he from the Congo, you too black, you ain't none of my people. And I'm looking at the dude, I'm like, well, they let me know I ain't none of his people because my son was at least a shade darker than the guy he's talking about. But he got $1 million. He got $1 million. People say they fighting for reparations. The same man who said there's not one single black mother that should get reparations. But he got $1 million. And we stand firm on that. But when you see people out here doing something, only you trying, the people who's actually doing something, we make up stuff to say they're conning. Now, Jermaine Thomas, a museum, no, a museum is not a school. But when you see people actually trying to do something, you either say they're scamming or you ignore them and they can't get the funding. Now, me personally, because I love black people, and I don't want to say black people is just that crazy, because I honestly believe he's paid by somebody anyway. I'm going to say the people that he's paid by gave him that money, and it looked like we did. Because I don't think black people is that crazy to give this man $1 million, because you see how he has just jumped all over the board from whatever is hot right now. That's what he's gonna do. Then he's gonna do this. Then he's gonna do that. Then and I'm not trying to bring up people on your show, man. So I apologize, but Shanika Ford said, but we are just that crazy. But I don't want to say, but, and I'm just saying. So even if you didn't want to support Dr. Umar, which I donated to the building and he got the building, we could have supported King Randall down in Albany, Georgia. We could have supported the brother in New York who I've donated to, who's doing great stuff with the kids, Q Butter. We could have donated to him. But instead of donating to something that's going to actually help you, we want a museum that says Hidden History by a guy who has trademarked the name. You know the purpose of trademark that name, don't you, Forecast?
What?
Once you trademark something, can't nobody else use it without your permission. You're gonna get paid off it. But that's a problem that we have. We want to support. We'd rather support the scammers instead of supporting people that's actually trying to do something. I hear the mic.
Yeah, my brother. And well, first of all, my sister Blue here. Let me say this one thing, Blue, before I bring you in. The one thing I would say is like, as a people, right? Like, well, one thing I would say to what you was just saying. First of all, we gotta stop being on like this whole gay stuff and like, you know what I'm saying, like white daddy and all of that stuff. We gotta get rid of that mindset first of all, because that's a mindset of being conquered right there. You gotta watch the language that you start with. But as far as like leaders, that's why I believe in a collective leader, like not one particular king, monarch kind of thing, but a group effort, a collective thing. You know what I'm saying? But before I even get into all of that, I'm gonna bring my sister Blue on. How you doing?
Hey y'all, I'm doing pretty good. What's up, everybody that's listening? And I was just tripping off of what you were saying. How you doing, Bakari?
Peace,
Um,
sister. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I just kind of wanted to comment what you had just said about the museum situation. Like it is really funny when you think about it. It's like we kind of fighting backwards, wanting to focusing on something like that. Now, don't get me wrong, visual is everything. So like that was also a part of, seeing more black people on movies and things like that. So that way it comes into the mental as, okay, this is a possibility, that I could do this. And then seeing a black president, even though we knew it was, some BS underneath that, just the visual of seeing those type of things, for the younger generations to let them start seeing these things, to let them think it in their head so they can think bigger than just, the average and regular jobs. So it definitely was an accomplishment, but yes, it's completely working backwards, thinking about a museum. And then with Dr. Umar, I listen to him and love him too, for what he's doing. Um, he what you was mentioning forecast as far as with the stereotyping of black people, period, anything that we do great, they're gonna second guess and double think and look more into it, as opposed to all these other people, when they say, okay, I'm doing this foundation and this and that. Remember we was talking about the Bill Gates Foundation doing some underhanded shit. Nobody's looking into those people and what they're doing, because what, they're legit. What makes them more legit than the next person? It's really the stereotype of our race. And the more that we have, more people doing these great things, the more we're going to overcome those type of stereotypes. So it is time for us to come together more as a people. And it's like it's going to be a difficult journey because of the differences and us being so spread apart and being so watered down. It is going to be more harder because we're going to fight over those basic things. We fight over the way, not fight, but we kind of waste time arguing about, how we say certain words, and call, like you said, call people gay, or might call them, a nerd or what have you. But we need everybody. We need that nerd, we need that hood person, we need that arrogant person, we need that assertive person. And because that not just one person is going to have all those capabilities, and that's why everybody's needed. Everybody is special. Everybody has their own thing that they were meant to do, that they do better than anybody else. And um, what I also want to talk about, when you opened up with the whole Taliban, taking over, and that was kind of surprising in a way, but it's like what's going on, especially from the pandemic. We can only expect for some real life changing um, current events to really start going down. Like it's we're in the middle of war. We have been in a war, but it's getting even more serious, and we need to do what we need to do while everybody else is occupied. Like you said, Bakari, those fights is not our fights, and we if we waste time in the wrong places, then we wasting energy, we wasting bullets, you know what I'm saying? And wasting money. Let's focus on what we really need to start focusing on.
Blue.
You hear me?
All right, yeah, yeah,
You hear
they
me? Oh, what was the last thing you heard?
um said yeah, we focusing on the wrong things, like you said, we wasting our bullets
Yeah,
on the wrong things, you know what I'm saying?
right, right. And I was saying, one of the things to start with is gaining wealth in economics, because most people are focusing on living paycheck to paycheck. And if you come to them talking about, okay, well, start doing this, to help with this, their mind. Can y'all hear me okay? Oh, I heard static. I think that was you. But most
I think
people,
that's forecast.
I think so too. Mute your joint. Most people is going to look like, well, I'm struggling to pay my bills. I'm struggling to make sure my kids is watched. I don't have time or room to focus on anyone or anything else. So I know for sure if we had more, wealth and jobs that we could offer each other, and be understanding, safe havens, places that we can go to for upfront assistance, not have to fill out a essay long, paperwork and wait to get approved. And aren't you tired of standing in line? Like I'm slowly starting to build my own community. So like start with the people around you. We can't save everybody. Everybody's just not going to be on the wave. They may follow along afterwards, but just not to waste time and energy. Um, I've met a couple people that do their own things in their own fields. So it's like, when we build that list of people that, we got an accountant, if we need an accountant for a business, we have someone to go to, to get our nails done. Uh, just anything, a real estate agent, car salesman, like we need for every type of purchase that needs to be made, we need a person to fit that category and start supporting each other and building that type of community. And me and Forecast spoke about getting building an app that would allow us to just us network. So you know how YouTube will kind of like censor you out and things like that. So we can build our own app. I actually have the background to know how to build an app and website to where we can all use that interface, that software to come together. And it ain't no restrictions, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, we built it. You feel me? So we can say whatever the hell we need to say, and we can vet, whoever gets an account on there, so that way we know, like, it's so we can create a code to all be on the same page. So I feel like that's something I'm gonna be leaning towards, and that would really help us create that community, because we need to kind of stick as low key as possible. Harriet Tubman was more so all about word of mouth, and word of mouth is believed to be one of the cheapest, easiest ways to get a message around. I know a major company that's their main marketing strategy is word of mouth. Okay, so I feel like it's just something that we need to kind of keep between us in a way until we get to that certain point where we want to show our strength, show what we got going on at this point. Like you said, there's no army, there's no man force, out here fighting for black people. Nowhere in the world. That shit is fucking sad. It's crazy. It makes no sense, and it's upsetting. We need to I watched a lot about, the whole Hitler um, story and his mindset on things. Now don't get me wrong, what he did, it was kind of harsh, but his goal at the end of the day was to create a super race. He wanted nothing but, the best people of his race. So he went as far as, getting um, anybody that had disabilities and mental mental capabilities of being either killed. Unfortunately, not saying we're gonna go that far, but this is as far as he went to make sure that he was building a strong race. They call it the superhuman or Superman race. He believed he was Aryan, so he was trying to build, the best of the best. So they went down to a science, to make sure, and they had a breeding station to where if you signed up, as a woman, you signed up just for that purpose, for breeding purpose, to make more, of you with those people that were already, capable to be the best, that they considered in shape, physically, mentally, just there. So he did that, and I'm sure that station is still exists because he ain't died, not that long ago. Like, we keep overlooking the shit that happened. It seemed like it was a while back because now we're adults, but it wasn't that long ago, you know. Um, Eugenics and sterilization. The last on record sterilization was in Virginia, and it was in 1973. So they were legally still able to sterilize, up until 1973. And what he did went worldwide. So everyone, all over the world has started, sterilization, and getting into, weeding out the ones that, wasn't capable of doing things on their own and producing, more. It, it just stopped not that long ago. So we really need to see that. And with the whole news, the news is not 100% together. I definitely thought about Donald Trump when the recent situation that happened, um, came up came up there, and the news said something, and it went all around to all the news stations, including CNN, and they put out information that was not even confirmed. They had no legit source to be able to put this out there to the people. I really can't get into the details about what it was, but I'm just saying, personally, for me, actually, seeing, knowing firsthand, and just knowing that they fucking lied. They lied. They put out information to scare the public when they didn't even have a legit source. So me seeing that and hearing that for myself, sometimes it takes for you to actually go through something to actually believe it. You hear it, you do your research, but to actually be witnessing it's like, it makes you double think on, everything. Like, it's you can't just go off of what they are saying. You have to pull up a couple things, and you still might not get the truth because you wasn't there. So you don't know. Somebody's gonna tell their version, the other person's gonna tell their version, and then it gets mixed up in between and passing down, the information being passed down. It's just like that. Same thing, with any court case, like that's why there's people that's in jail that's innocent, because you got two parties telling the story, and depending on who can make theirs seem more valid, that's what's gonna be right, no matter what, you know, no matter what. So it's fucked up, but you kind of have to, investigate a little bit more and not just go off of what somebody is telling you. Um, that was really scary. But I'm gonna go ahead and yield the mic for now. Um, Sorry if I ran up some time.
Oh no, yeah, you good, you good. And when you come back around, you can say what you wanted to say too about what you texted me about. But and by the way, if anybody want to call in and put their opinion in about anything that we said, you can call in the number 804-601-4015. Jermaine Thompson, my brother JB, Shanique, any of y'all, Foundational Black American 1526. Um, any of y'all can call in. And like you said, I'm glad you kind of brought up Hitler too, because like, according to the stories, right, Hitler's people was being oppressed themselves by Jewish people, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of like the Taliban rose up. Now he was a sick European, a psychopath like the rest of them, right? There's no difference between Hitler and George Washington, right? It's just about the country you represent, and that's what propaganda shows you, right? Because in certain places, then you're going to see certain representations. Just like if you was to ever stand up, you would be
Right.
Hitler. Like if they call you Hitler for saying, you know, you don't want black children to be killed. They said, oh, you sound like Hitler, but they're just comparing you to another European. But you know, at the end of the day, all of these groups did what it took, or did what they had to do to break out of the situation that they were in, and that is the system of oppression that they were facing. And like Bakari said, and like my sister Blue said, it's not our problem, but our problems are our problems. And those are the problems that we have to deal with head on. And we are seeming to be the only group that is not taking action in the way that we need to take action, and dealing with the problems, making every excuse that we have to make, looking for every single thing to argue about, whether it be where you're from or any of that stuff that predates the whole colonization period. Because once that happened, once the Casual Killing Act was passed, then all bets were off, right? Once they passed laws making it okay, probably in the first time for the history of the world, where they can take your children out of your arms and sell them, then that was a problem. And I'll tell you right now, they are still taking children out of the arms of black women. There was a video the other day where they've been doing this a lot recently, where they've been taking a lot of black women's children. You know, I gotta look into it a little bit more, but they're still doing this very thing to this day. And if you was to do something to stand up, you would be considered the Taliban. You would be considered Hitler. You would be considered the enemy, the terrorist, the black identity extremist. And at the end of the day, it shouldn't matter what they call you. At the end of the day, what should matter is the safety of your children, being a society, right? Our mental health is so damaged, and we can't get therapy. We don't have the help in our community. That food that we eat is so damaged, and we can't even help our own. But you take it one day at a time and stop making it spooky. Stop making a system so hard to beat. Because if some Arabs in the Middle East, the Taliban, who America been waging war on for 20 years, can do what they have to do, we can do the same thing. Like my sister said, like with word of mouth alone, it passes, and we could build things. But my brother Bakari talking about, certain people get certain things, is because we have a mindset of fear. We come from a place of poverty, and we look for leaders. And my sister Blue all tell me all the time, some people are just like that. Some people need leaders, right? But there is no one person that can do it. That's why councils are important. That's why you have to be moving as a collective. That's why you decide things as a collective. And if we can get out and say vote or die as a collective, even though they told us before the election that I'm not doing nothing for you niggas, and you're not black if you don't vote for me. And they told you that before the election. And we got on Ice Cube about it, right? Ice Cube said, okay, I'm going to Trump and this person and that person. But I didn't say that I'm gonna talk to you after election. Still haven't done it. Not even talking to the Black Lives Matter people. Not talking to any of these organizations, right? And they know that they can get our vote for nothing. And if they can get our vote for nothing, what do you think they can do when it comes to physical violence, physically harming us, knowing they can, nothing's going to happen to them. There's no repercussions. But you know, anybody want to call in? You can call in. You can go ahead and say what you want to say. My brother Bakar, you can go ahead.
Y'all mentioned Hitler, right? Hitler, one of the greatest
Yeah.
leaders. Hitler is one of the greatest leaders ever in history, right?
Yeah, he did a good ass job.
And when Forecast mentioned how they were being oppressed, See, forecast, you the only other person, you the person other than me, you the only person beside myself I heard tell that side of the story. The Germans were walking around holding signs up, right? Marching like black people. Jews was killing them. Hitler was a peon. He rose to power. He did what he did. Now, I'm not saying Hitler was going to hold his word, but you do know Hitler reached out to African nations and told them he would help West African nations. So he would help build their military, and they would control their own economy and their own resources if they helped him and not help like that so-called allies. The few that fought with the so-called allies because he felt if he could get Africans on his side and could win Africa, he could win the war. Now, I'm not saying he would have kept his word, but that should have been something that should have been looked at because you see the people over there that came, stole people, put them on the bottom of the ships, shipped them around the world, now colonize you and treat you like crap. And while you allow it, it should have been something to think about. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if he would have kept his word or not, but it should have been something to think about, but we didn't think about it. Long time ago in ancient history, uh, I know y'all know the Mongolian story, Genghis Khan and all that, right? What continent he did not attack? He did not attack Africa. And I've been trying to study and find out why. The only thing I could ever find in which I know this is not true, he said there was nothing there for him. In which we know that ain't true because he was traveling around the world, conquering and taking riches, right? The African military, Mamelukes, helped the Turks defeat the Mongolians. The Mongolians never fought Africans. Look what the Turks did to Africans. And I'm just on our decision making. Look what the Turks did to the Egyptians after they helped them defeat the Mongolians. Now we can come here today. Look how this country treat us, but we're proud to say we have fought in every war. My dad even fought in World War II. I had two brothers over in Desert Storm. I was in the military. They asked me to go to war. I was lucky I got out with an honorable discharge because I told them I was not going to war for this country. I don't know nobody from Kuwait. Ain't nobody from Kuwait ever done nothing to me. So I'm not fighting in no war for a country that don't care about me. My friends, me and my army buddies was together a few weeks ago, and we were laughing about that. And man, we surprised you didn't get no dishonorable discharge, go to Fort Leavenworth, which is the military jail. But you know, I was man enough to make that decision, and I was going to be man enough to live with the consequences, whatever they decide to do. But I was not going to war for this country. The point I'm making: look how we constantly go to war for people who absolutely hate us, but we won't go to war for ourselves. And whenever someone mentions about going to war for ourselves, it's already in our head what they are going to do to us. So then we have to think about a different strategy. How about the economic war? People don't want to do that. It's an educational war. How about let's teach something different about some of the things that we have done so we can, what's the word? So we can find something to be proud of. So we can find something to follow, something that show our greatness and something that show our strength. Not ancient Africa. Don't get it twisted. I love ancient Africa. But today, here in the 40s, the 20s, the 30s, we don't want to do that either. But you'll find people who brag on Gaddafi. And Gaddafi absolutely did not like black Africans. We want to be socialists. We want to be communists. I said, well, what about Garveyism? Let's look at Marcus Garvey economic plan And let's see what that did. Because Marcus Garvey economic plan, when you study Garveyism, no person could control more than $1 million. A business, don't care how much money you made, could control more than $5 million. Everything else, you could have a $300 million a year business, but you couldn't be in control of more than 5 million. Everything else going back to the business, going back to the workers, going back to our community, what we're building. But we can own businesses and we own them together. Group economics, Garveyism, the black print has been laid out for us, but we ignore it and we constantly ask and we get upset and say, well, they did this they wrote this for the Asians or Asian hate bill. They did this for the Hispanics, or they did this for somebody else, but they won't do it for us. How many years are we going to say they won't do it for us before we realize we have to do it for ourselves? And when we start doing it for ourselves, we have to be aware of the charlatans. We have to have a vetting system. We have to, because people will come in who's paid. It always happens. They are paid to come in. They are agents of confusion, turn you against one another when you're absolutely working together. See, this is my thing, right? I don't care about someone saying they are foundational Black American, or they are an ADOS, or they are indigenous to here, or whatever. I don't even care about none of that. We can have this conversation. We can have a debate on what I say is best and what you say is best, but I really don't care what set you claim. Long as you smart enough to have your set say, you know what, we gonna work with this over here, and all of us gonna work together, and it's gonna benefit all of us, because regardless of what set I claim, they are not oppressing me because I say I'm FBA or ADOS or Muslim or Hebrew or Pan African or whatever. They're oppressing us because of who we are. And the only way we're gonna get out of this oppression is if we come together, band together, and say we're going to control our communities. That's the first step. $1 million for a museum could have been used for. Do you see how many people is being evicted now since this pandemic supposedly over? Look and see how many people they're saying being going to be evicted. $1 million, all that money can be used toward. You know what? Let's get an apartment building and let's start. And let's get somewhere to help our single mothers, our single fathers, just get some of our homeless off the street and clean them up. $1 million. You know how many businesses you can start with $1 million? With $1 million, you can have your own credit union, part of the NCUA. That's all it takes. We need a lot of stuff, and we're going to have to work to get it. They're not going to give us anything. That's why, as far as reparations and all that, I don't even discuss that. Because you get to a point in your life, where I have, where you get tired of begging. Please, 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 please. We have said please since 1865 for reparations. Please. But then when you look at the people that say, you know what, this is the white man country, we ain't gonna vote in it. They got this system, they got that system. We're not gonna worry about it. We're gonna create our own system and we're gonna do this. And look at them. Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington got money from white folks. It's Tuskegee. Booker T. Washington, but he also let them know we don't want to live next to you. We don't want to vote in your elections. We want to build ourselves up. He was able to get money because he didn't want to be around them. Think about that. Everybody who ever got something from these people was not trying to be like these people. The people who haven't gotten anything from these people is the same people that beg to sit at their restaurant and eat a sandwich. Let me take a dump on your toilet. Let me ride on the front of your bus. The people that haven't gotten that, the people that ask for equality. I don't want equality. It's time for black people to stand together, come together, regardless of what set you claim, come together, work together, and create power. I yield the mic.
Yeah, Blue, yeah, you can say everything you want to say, and if you want, you could just say what you was texting me. I want you to say that too.
I thought I said it already.
Okay.
Like,
Okay.
I don't,
No.
I don't want
Okay.
to get out of it because if I get out, it'll close out the screen. But just to speak on like terrorism really quick, like the definition of terrorism is unlawful. So now you're going against the grain. So anything that goes against the grain is considered unlawful. So you're automatically going to be considered a terrorist. So it's unlawful intimidation to civilians. So, of course, we're the civilians, and they have to make it look as if they're trying to protect us. So that's how they make these groups look so horrible when they're probably just trying to do what we need to do. So, like, I don't know the background behind what Taliban's doing, but, me knowing Muslims and knowing people from in the Middle East, they don't like the government coming in and changing, and making different rules and things to what they already had going on. Like they despise of it, they hate it, and we don't get to hear that part of it because, over on this end, when we watch the news, it's more so, oh, we made a deal, and then, now this group is going against the deal, so we can't even really go off of what we being told on the news about what's going on over there. you know it's crazy. And like I'm really good with operations, and like if supported, I can already see like how we can bring this together because everything that we need is kind of already being done. Like we have the doctors, we got people that got the PhDs. We have our military teams. Like we got the gangs out there, right? The Bloods and the Crips, like that's our military right there. We have our salespeople. Those are the scammers, the ones that can persuade people. We have our um, people we need for our expense department, the frugal people. Remember the black people that don't tip, to look into saving us money. Like we actually have the skills that we already need. We just need it to be orchestrated in a structural way to build wealth and to make change. So it really just takes us coming together and getting and knowing who does what. We walk past each other and don't even speak. I had several of my people walk past me today, and I be testing it just because like I speak to everybody. Um, I honestly see no color. That's the sad part about it. Like everybody's human to me, but because I know what's going on, and because I know that there's my specific group that has struggled and suffered for so long, and nobody has actually made that change. They say that they're trying to make change. They feeding us pennies, as opposed to what we could really be, indulging in like them. Um, but yeah, we have everything that we need. It's just more so of the coming together. And the whole Bloods and Crips story, like I really don't understand why y'all have not squashed the shit and really like turned that shit around. Y'all guard the blocks. Y'all could really be helping making changes for us because that's what we need. We need the protection and the firearms behind it. Like that's if that's your position, and that's your position. But I also wanted to bring up Ice Cube. Like we actually had someone that everybody knows. He put out there about the black contract. He had it up there in legal terms where it was like several pages in small words, and then he actually simplified it to like a couple pages where it was easy for you to understand. you know, all he asked for was signatures to help support it so that way he can bring it in front of the judges to say, look, I got all these people, signed off on my petition to change to make these laws for us to protect us. And I don't even think he got enough signatures. Like the shit was crazy. He took the time to have a website. I signed several people up, just to try to help it because it really spoke where we needed. And it just sucks to see that, he did this last year, within the latest century. that we still not catching on to how we have to play their game, to do what we need to do. We need if we don't got the money, we need laws to protect us. Like I was saying before, there should be a charge for somebody that acts out in a racist act, and that should need to stick. Just like any other charge that we get for anything else, that should need to ride with them for life. There's no, oh, you did this and you overcame it. We do so many bad things, not even bad to the system. And that's something that's looked at for the rest of our life. You know what I mean? So why would we give them a pass because they took therapy? Come off of it. They just like we need years and years of mental therapy, they need the same thing. It took your favorite word, forecast. It took psychopaths to do what they did to people, human beings, you know, and that's what it is. And they're going to continue to turn things around and play victim always. It's always going to be an excuse for something they did and try to make it look like, oh, okay, I can understand them doing that if they thought that. No, they know what they're doing the whole time. Like it's the game they playing. you know. So it is best to try to, play them at the game and know how to play it. It's a legal war for us and an economic war. And slowly but surely, if we can really focus on the
You
right
stepped away from the phone. It's hard to hear you now. You stepped away from your computer.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound far away.
Oh wow, I would sound far away right now, but I was pretty much concluding that
Hey, go out and come back in.
Hey,
We.
Forecast, can I say something right quick?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, when she was talking, and I know that what you say, psychopaths, right? But I'm gonna tell you something. I think the whole world has learned other than black people, right? We say they're psychopaths, and once we lose, because I study other than I like history, so I study more than black history. Everything they do is what Mongolians did to them, and look how long Mongolia controlled them. If you look and see how the French controlled the British, look and see how the Mongolians controlled Turk. Everybody have done that to other humans for control. Is one race of people. And I know the sister cool, I like blue, but she say she don't see color, right? I absolutely see color. But in this one race of people that said that have not ever done it and have not ever tried it. And that race of people has never, ever, 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 ever controlled the world. We call it psychopath. We call it all that. We call them crazy. But when you go back through history, the Asians did it. The white Arabs did it. The white Europeans did it. But you can't find nowhere in history where African people did it. Black people did it. Then you also can't find nowhere in history where black people controlled everything and had everybody paying them taxes and doing all that in controlling the world. I just wanted to touch on that when she mentioned that.
All right. Blue, you back.
Yep, I'm back.
All right, you sound good
I
now.
mean,
Yeah, go ahead, finish.
yeah. I mean, I was gonna pass it, but I'll also point out you mentioned I don't know what's going on. You said the China seas over in China, but I do know China has been in Africa making deals for a minute now. So it's like they already knew to head that way, and because Africa is at their lowest point, to try to get in where they fit in and offer them money for you know ownership out there. Um, I forget what else I was gonna point out, but I came up with a new slogan. Um, I I feel like if you think you can't do it, and just know the sky is the limit. If you just feel like I can't do this right now, or how can I overcome my situation? Like you really can. You know, it just takes you using your resources, you reaching out to the right people, and it's possible. You know, it just sometimes it just takes talking to get it out, so that way, you know, when you get things out from your mind, you can kind of hear it differently, as opposed to it being in your head. And then there's three s- steps to doing something. You know, we seem to stop and just be the sayers, but to become a doer, you think of a thought, you say it, and then you actually do it. So until that action happens, then we ain't doing nothing. There, you was pointing out earlier, like I always say, yeah, everyone is not a leader, you know, and that doesn't make you any less valued than the next person. It's just that everybody has a position and a role to play. Just like with any species, you know, any animal, they have their leader, they have their second hand man, they have the third one, they have the workers, they have the people that's in the back that watch out. Like they so on point in a line. They don't even they talk a whole nother language. You know, there's no reason why animals, when we're the smartest species, it's no reason why animals can get along together better and communicate better, to know that there's a structure in this community, you know, like it's really making us look silly now, as far as how much time has passed. It's at least one person in each household that got to know better, you know. So whether you trying to build your inner whoever's in the household up, or reach out to the people around you in your nearest community, you know, get on one accord. And you want to get up with people like us, um, anywhere, you know, from state to state. We have to connect. You know, I would love for us to get on a universal level, but at least within the states, you know, um, I'm just hoping for the best, preparing for the worst. I yield the mic.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, y'all was definitely spitting that knowledge, and I agree with what you were saying. Like, we definitely have the skills. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. My brother talked about Garveyism. There's a whole lot of plans. I'm sure, like, no matter how you feel about the particular person, but like, Elijah Muhammad's plan about separation, all of this stuff, we have the plans, and I agree with you. And my brother Bakari, like, when I say psychopaths, like, what I'm talking about is like, yeah, everybody did fight for power. Well, a lot of times in history, except for like certain people like Shaka Zulu and stuff like that, a lot of people welcome Europeans welcome the pale face with open arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, they welcome them in. But when I would speak about psychopaths, like, only one group of history like would castrate somebody and fight over taking that home as a souvenir. Like, who lynches children and little girls? Who creates laws about specifically separating children from their mothers? Like, no other group of people have done that particular savage behavior in history, and they had to literally call a savage, to do that. That's why, still talk about the dress code and all of that stuff, and the 14th Amendment, and people try to use that. But the 14th Amendment was for, in my opinion, for corporations, not necessarily people. You know what I'm saying? And they have they don't have that mindset. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I appreciate y'all for coming on. My brother Bukari, I want you to go ahead, go all the way in. You know what I'm saying? Take as long as you want. But you go ahead and close out too.
Oh, okay. Excuse me. Yeah, when his sister started talking about animals, right? That's why, because humans, we are animals. We're mammals, right? That's why, and we like to say black people, we're the natural people, right? I think we're as far away from nature than any group of people. Because like she was
Hmm.
in nature, it's absolutely natural. If we're gonna truly study nature, it's absolutely natural to go take from what the other animal have. This is my territory, and you protect your territory The lions would not let the male lions is not going to let hyenas come and take from their female. Antoine de Mela, he who greets with fire, he's going to kill every hyena he sees.
Mhm.
The leopard, the ones that don't, that can't protect it, is the cheetah. So they're faster and they run away. So are we the cheetahs? Because we're not showing that alpha male lion spirit, the alpha male tiger spirit, the alpha male wolf or grizzly, whatever. We're not showing that spirit. Are we the cheetahs? Well, we're the weak ones and we can't protect ours, so we got to get up and run away, or we have to eat real fast. Don't care how tired we are, we have to eat real fast in case something bigger and stronger is coming to take it. So the natural thing to do on earth is to control every animal, control your territory. You don't allow anything to come set up shop in your territory. You protect your women and your children in every that's what animals do. Strong animals. So what are we? Right? What are we? And I understand, forecast. I'm gonna say this: when you say they're psychopath, and we are talking about things that has happened here and that has happened in Africa, right? And when I mention other people, that's just because I like history. But I promise you, you study them damn Mongolians and them damn Arabs. Oh my God, what they did, especially them Turkish people, what they went to Africa and did, I promise you, especially them, because they did it to black folks. I, you see the same. It's the same thing. Thousands of years. So is it in us to never fight back? And I know Sister Raw put in the chat. She said that was make us human because we didn't do what everybody else did. I don't know. For me, I'm gonna be honest. I guess I ain't no human. Cause if I ever get the opportunity, I'm gonna do the same damn thing. I'm gonna be honest with you. I want some revenge. Shit. Cause what happened way back then, we see it happening now with every group of people still able to dominate us. We have to get off the ground. We have to stand up as black people. Stop looking for other people to help you because it's not their job to help you. Nobody is giving up their power. Even with the reparations thing, right? White people came here, took a country, brought people from another continent and made them work for free in this country so they could build a great life for themselves. Do you really think that those same people is going to turn around and give reparations so you can be on a equal or almost equal playing field? Would that make sense? I'm going to give up all my power that I created for these years to the people I used to get the power? It doesn't make sense, do it? So if we want power, we're going to have to create our own. We're going to have to do internal reparations. We're going to just have to say, buy black. Marcus Garvey started that a long time ago. Be black, buy black, think black. Everything else will take care of itself. That's what we are going to have to do. We can't depend on psychopaths, sociopaths. We cannot depend on those type of people. We have to look in the mirror and say we're going to depend on us. We have to look in the mirror and say, okay, Blue got a good idea, so we're going to work with Blue. Bakari got a good idea. Can Blue and Bakari work together? Or can we do this? And we have to be willing to take it nationwide. We have to look down where my man started the organization in Jackson, Mississippi called Respect Our Black Dollars. And since they didn't respect our black dollars, they have shut down. They have shut down Arabs and East Indian gas stations in black communities. Not enough, but they have shut some down where they have nine gas stations in Little Jackson, Mississippi now. Five of them fully functional. Fully functional mean they're selling everything and they have the gas and they getting the gas and everything right now. The other ones didn't have it yet, but they have nine, and five of them fully functional because they said we're not going to go there. We're going to put them on blast. We don't want them in our neighborhoods. That's what we have to do. Either we're going to do it or not. Waiting on somebody else to do it for us, waiting on somebody to give us something, that's not going to happen. If they give us something, good. Take advantage of what they're willing to give you. But if they don't, we need to be in a position and create right now with the power that we have, because we are more powerful than we think. That's why I always mention certain books that we need to read so we can start seeing some of the power. We are descendants of the people. We have descendants of the people that built uh, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that built Wilmington, North Carolina, that built Mount Bayou, Mississippi, that built Tuskegee Institute. We are those people descendants. So if they could do that way back then after slavery, we had that same strength. We had that same power. We had that same mindset. We are descendants of the Maroons in Jamaica, because a lot of us have that island, some of our people from the islands too, because of the way the slave trade went. We are descendants of the people. John Jacques Dassaline from Haiti. We are descendants of these people. That's our family. Let's look at them and like, well, if they can do it way back then, us today with more education and more money, we can do it today. We just have to want to do it. Can we do it? Yes. Will we do it? I believe some of us will. Now, I'm also to the point where we have to stop, for me anyway, I ain't gonna say we. I stopped trying to get people to understand. I want to deal with people that do understand, right? And once we start working together and we get out there, see, our people is a visual people. So once they see us building it, they will be a part. But we have to give them some, right? So that's why when I talk about we help create business for Erica Howard, working on helping create metric global logistics, and that's absolutely black people coming together. It's 9 of us, and we're gonna put our money together, and we're creating jobs. I say by December, January next year, everybody that has put in the 9 will be making a minimum of $2,000 a week. Then with potential, then we're going to be hiring other people because we're going to need people with trucks. So that's the thing about it. What we doing, and we have to do it together, and we have to do it for our people. That's what we have to work on. Don't let nobody shame you for putting yourself first. I ain't saying you don't ever have to help nobody, because if I said that, I would be lying, because when I go out and I do my thing and we out here giving to the homeless and whatnot, I'm not going to tell a person they can't eat because they're not black. I'm just not built like that. But I'm going to the black neighborhood to give to my people. Somebody may be there that can benefit from the food that I'm bringing, or for the socks and for the socks and coats that I bring. They may not be black and they may end up benefiting from it, but I'm going to my people first. Look, if y'all hadn't heard of me, y'all heard of me now. I'm Brother Bakari. Check out my channel. Go subscribe, smash that notification bell. Forecast. I thank you for letting me on, Blue. It was good to hear from you again. You need to shoot me an email. I yield the mic.
All right, yeah, Blue. You can go ahead and take as long as you want.
Okay.
Say everything you want to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thanks. Yeah, I did actually email you, and actually, I think it was the next day from that other live that we did. Um, so I don't know. A forecast got to make sure we got the right email going on. If you want to, yeah, I'll just get it from him just to make sure.
I'm gonna
But
put
I
it in
got
the
you.
back chat again. I just didn't see it.
Okay.
I'll check my spam, but I'm gonna put it in the back chat now.
Okay. Hopefully, I ain't coming through as spam. But um, I just wanted to jump on one more time because I work. I'm also an entrepreneur. And for me to be able to do the things outside of what I have going on personally to help us, um, I need to be able to make those moves. And I'm not the type to ask, but I'm ready to make that change. So it's like my Cash App is LK. Honey, Honey, and supporting me on that would help me support us. Like seriously. Um, and the Sapio encounters with the whole nonprofit of us building on projects, still talking about that so that way it can be something that people actually know about. Because once we start, like we starting, like I don't want to delay it anymore, but I want, get tell a friend or two about it. Don't just listen to the conversation, like share the conversation. For anybody that consistently listens, share it with 10 family members, just so that way things could click for them. It may not be this specifically, but maybe it'll help them out in any other area. um, but definitely share the word. And it almost slipped my mind because I don't actively work on it, but I had started a virtual staffing agency like back in 2017. And I had a lot of obstacles with it because a lot of people, and this was before the pandemic. So, like, I was looking into, I can hire people to work from home. So, all you need is a computer, um, house phone, um, and home internet. Now, there's certain ways around the house phone part of it, but that's all you need. Not gonna give you a hard interview process at all. I'm looking. I want to give a job. And this would be working for several different companies. They cycle when they're in need of people. So I'm talking about companies from Comcast to Walgreens, Home Depot, travel agencies, um, TurboTax. There's a lot of companies that cycle through Enterprise, Pizza Hut. That you would be working from home, and I would let you choose what you want. And let you know the details. The great thing is you can create your own schedule. The only requirement is that you work at least 20 hours a week, and a portion of that needs to be on a Monday, Saturday, on a weekend day, including a Monday, and you got a job, you know. So if anybody is in need, you can text me on 804-250-1049. I'll say it again. You can text me on 804-250-1049 and just say interested in job, your name. And I'll hit you back from there and we can go from there. So that's something for sure, for sure. If somebody's looking for a job, now there are about 7 states that are not eligible because of their laws. The ones I know off the top of my head for sure is New York. New York is on there, and I want to say Texas and Florida. Uh, but by all means, reach out if even if you know someone that needs a job. And also just be careful, or second, look into where you're spending your money. You know, there are a lot of celebrities that they're unfortunately they're just not for you. They're doing what they're doing to gain their gains and to still distract you. So just kind of be mindful of where you're spending your time and your money. It's okay to go in your Google search and look for a black owned business. Take the time to do that. Those small purchases and continuing to do that, that's what we need. Those small moves, those small changes to put the money in the right pockets. Um, Also, I did see Veggie Girl had put something in the chat. She said something about save the date when I was talking about, like, let's all get together. True indeed. You like we have to, and that's a part of code. Like, why did we wait until they made Juneteenth a holiday to celebrate the things that were the struggles? Why? And again, they already devalue a holiday, so everybody got a holiday. Even the grass got a holiday. So it's like, to me, it just didn't, it took away the importance of, those particular, February and the Juneteenth. So I had thought even before that was a holiday to why not have our own, whether it was a parade we did, where we all wearing white, and crowns and shit that for starters, like just like they have their secret meetings, like they said Joe Biden had the secret meeting that he wouldn't disclose. This was recently too. He won't disclose who it was with and all that. Like it's okay for us to do things, without blabbering it, and telling everybody. Everybody is not for the cause, so know who is your friends, and just know, who's not. Um, but we got to remember, if you think you can't do it, just know the sky is the limit. And I love y'all. Have a good night.
Let me ask you a question, Blue. What you say that position was? You say that's at home, right?
Yeah, working from home. Yes.
Okay. I
Yes,
think
sir.
I'm gonna send it. And you say they just need to text you and say you interested in the job.
Yeah, yeah. Just text me and say you interested, and then I'll text you see what time we need to talk and tell you what's available. Like I said, the job cycle. And there's always something going on. There's always something that you can actually start with. And then how I put it is like, I don't want to, hold you down for forever. I look at this as a stepping stone. So like you use this experience you get, because I'm considered a third party, use this experience and go directly to the company with the experience, and that would be your way of earning more.
Okay, yeah. I think I know somebody that might be. I know a few people that would probably be interested in this.
Well, that's what's up. Got your email, right? Yep, I see it.
All right, yeah. I appreciate y'all for coming on. My sister Blue, she definitely got that entrepreneur energy, that entrepreneur mindset. She definitely about her business, and she handles business, and we all got to get that. I could be better at that myself. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta yeah, I definitely appreciate my sister, and I'll just say this. My brother Bakari, he was talking about Arabs and all of them. They did that stuff too, and you absolutely right. And I called the show "Who Are the Taliban?" and I'm saying I'm not caping for them at all. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure everybody knows that, but I just have to say it. They was definitely psychopaths too. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see them any different. You know what I'm saying? But the Pakistani, well, it don't really matter. But the Pakistani president said that the Taliban was escaping slavery. Right? They were escaping oppression. And that's the mentality that we generally have to have. Because earlier, my sister Blue mentioned a conversation we had about stereotypes. And it's a stereotype that we have about each other that we have to get over. We look at each other through the lens of Europeans. And if black man and dreads, God forbid he has dreads, and a white tee walking down the street past you, you're probably clutching your purse tighter too. You know what I'm saying? That's that whole mindset that we have to get past as a people in general. And we all have plans. My brother Bakari has his plan. My sister Blue has her plan. But it's hard to get people to donate to contribute. I have another sister, my sister named Matilda, who's a listener. She has a plan where she wants to form something where um where everybody contributes to somebody just in case something bad happens, and then we won't have to be scrambling for money, or it don't have to be jail or something, but like what's going on in Haiti, we can't help our people globally. So how can we expect somebody to follow us if we can't even feed them? If you can be able to feed somebody, trust me, they will follow you. But if you cannot provide food, shelter, and all of the basic life necessities, then it's going to be very hard to get people to follow you. And we as a culture are looking for somebody to follow because so much of it has been taken from us, has been stripped from us. And this society has been designed to keep us running on the low frequency of self-hate, self-loathing, to where if you were to pick up a person beside you, um, all right, hold on, I'll take this last call before I get off here. To send a voicemail, press 2. Hello?
Okay, what's going on? It's Pelage, man.
Yo, what's going on, my brother? I was just about to get off here, but yeah, what's going on? You call right at the end.
Yeah, I know. Every once in a while, I always do that, man. Well, first off, I was trying to I had to turn off my phone and I had the notification, and I could not find the live. But anyhow, I'm here. But obviously, you invoke, Haiti. I told you that's where I'm from, and listen. I didn't catch all the conversation you guys talking about, though. I know critical race theory, and I know the Taliban. And for me, I don't know it all. Like, when somebody is right about something, they're right about something. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to try to use cute words, okay? Our problem as Black people globally, we lack unity. And I know that last time we talked, and I know Brother Bakari, who is, I invoke John Brown, and so I was, my words were taken out of context, and my words were picking apart. I have nothing but love for Brother Bakari. I know that I don't get a chance to rebuttal when I talk. My thing is, as far as what I was trying to mention last week is that, white people celebrate mass murderers like Columbus, for example, who's not from America, who never discovered America. We celebrate those people. I feel like if they want to celebrate, somebody, who's a hero, and listen, I don't want to pick apart what brother, I'm sorry, we is saying stuff like that, but my thing is, if I'm, like I said, if I'm lying, if I'm straight up lying, I'm straight up lying, okay? So my thing is, the man lost his life. Just like, here's the thing, there are so many things that I know, and then I would love to talk to Brother Bakari at some point, and you guys, and not, where I call in to talk to you, Brother Corey, and I'm sorry, brother, to talk to a lot of other people, and to just get to know each other. We are great people. We sometimes we lead by emotions, and I don't know. I feel like we in this war. I am, you're not the enemy, Brother Focus, and Bakari is not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. I'm seeing a lot of YouTubers right now fighting amongst each other. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? Who is the enemy? I understand that there needs to be a cleansing in the Black community. When I'm saying Black community, I'm not talking about just the Black Americans here. I'm talking about globally. There's a lot of sellouts, and I understand that. And I agree with Brother Bakari. We need to look within ourselves as heroes. We have, which I agree with that. And also, as far as Haiti go, thank you for bringing that name. even mention the Haiti. And if you can feed the people, they won't follow. And that's just human nature. And things are bad. In fact, my village decimated. My thing is what I'm seeing with black people, with the Haitian people. So I'm gonna drop a few names: Naomi Osaka, Haitian; Beyonce, Haitian; Usher. The list goes on. There's so many Nerlens, Noel, all those basketball players, all those superstars. We can feed Haiti. We can do great things. And I think, the trauma, our way of living, it's the issue, it's part of the issue too. And our emotional, I'm a very emotional person, you know? And I feel like sometimes and I apologize from going in circles, and I feel like our trauma and our emotions sometimes get the best of us. We end up fighting each other. Okay? Focus, you have a lot of knowledge. And Brother Bakari, I know I haven't directly talked to you. You have a lot of knowledge. Let's just take everybody's expertise, and go with it. You know what I'm saying, though? And that's that. Because we have to unite. I don't care when people try to put labels. Oh, he's just he's an F. He's a non. He's not an FBA. He's this. He's African. He's Haitian. But we know that white supremacy pits black people against each other. Like especially the Haitians, the Jamaicans. They said, hey, you don't want to be like the black Americans. We know that. We know that. I think we can do better, like moving forward. We can't repeat the same thing again and over again. Yes, I believe the crisis that happened in Haiti, we can overcome that. Because like you have same people, it hurts me. It hurts me. You have people who have money. Like Stephen Curry, for an example, is Haitian. You didn't know that, did you? He's Haitian. Stephanie's grandma is Haitian. So therefore, that makes Stephanie's mom, Stephen Curry, I'm sorry, I'm saying Stephanie. Stephen Curry, his mother's Haitian. So we've got plenty of money. We just need to convince people to stick together. Listen, Brother Focus, and I am happy every once in a while to donate to your channel. I'm happy you allow me to rant, but we have to come together. That's just the bottom line. We have to stop micro, just somewhat be police to everybody, to every word that people are saying. Where's that gonna get us? Simon Bolivar is a revolutionary for Venezuela. You know how he freed his country over some 210 years ago? He came to Haiti and studied under Jean-Jacques Dessalines. Okay, and said, this is awesome. How did you guys, do all that stuff? We taught them. 200 something years later, the country is thriving, and we're not. There's a debt they felt like they owed to Haiti. We just haven't get our shit together. Excuse my language, brother.
Yeah,
but
it's all good.
We got this. Yeah, we got this, man. We got this. Yeah. And finally, before I go, let me say this before I go, brother. I know I've been going on a rant. Today, I had the best conversation with my father. I've been away from my father for 29 years under his woman. I'm a little older than you guys. But I've been asking him so many questions just trying to have patience with him, because like my dad does not, talk to one of my uncles, and my relationship with my family is not, has not been like the best. Okay, my dad something to me that was really special, and I've always called my brothers and sisters. I lost one of my older sister like about 6, 7, like last summer, and I didn't go to the funeral because it's just like bad blood. My dad told me today, if they want to talk to you at some point, they'll call you, and that's all I needed to know. Listen, my brother, I appreciate you. I hope your fans donate to you, your subscribers. Um, I hope I get a chance to, I don't know, maybe meet you guys one day. But we have to unite. We are brothers and sisters. I have nothing but love for you guys. And a lie is a lie. But I just think it does. We don't get anywhere by micromanaging, by trying to retweak other people's words. That's all. Okay. Thank you.
All right, I appreciate it, my brother. Thanks for calling.
No problem, my brother.
Yeah, and brother Bakari had to drop off, but yeah, I definitely, yeah, I'll get a chance to talk. And Blue, did you want to say something to anything he said, or you good?
Yeah, I'm good. And I'm driving now, so I'm gonna be able to focus.
All right, yeah, well, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Yeah, I appreciate my brother for calling in, and yeah, he makes a lot of good points, and I understand what he was saying about last time, and I'm not saying the brother because he's a good brother, and he's been following me for a while, so I'm not saying anything about like the whole John Brown thing, and I appreciate everything he was saying, and when I label these titles critical theory, what I'm saying, I'm not really saying like everything that we say is critical to them. Everything that we say is critical, but it's not a theory. It's all facts, right? And we have to understand how other groups is moving around in the world. Other groups are making moves. And my sister Ross said, pick a date on the calendar and the time, and whatever they want, then they got it. And that kind of reminded me of Gabriel Prosser during his rebellion. They picked a date and a time, and the time it was supposed to happen. This was in Richmond, Virginia, and the time it was supposed to happen, it was a terrible storm, and everybody backed out. And I can hear the people now saying, "Oh Lord, this is a sign from God," and all that kind of stuff. And the people backed out, and before they could come back the next day, only Gabriel Prosser and his wife and one other person was still ready to do what they had to do. But before they can come back the next day, somebody told on them, a black person told on them, and they got quote unquote freedom for it. And you know, the brother Gabriel Prosser got lynched, but he went out like a soldier. He wanted to get lynched with everybody else that they hung, but they took him and they hung him by himself, and they tried to make him plea and like beg and like snitch on everybody else, but the brother would not fold on nobody. He never snitched. He didn't give him the satisfaction of seeing him fold. Right, that's the kind of spirit, the mentality that we have to have, and other groups have this mentality. No matter how you think about them, what they do, they're making moves to take power, because it's not about right and wrong. It's not about good and bad. It's about power and control, being able to feed yourself. And like, y'all got to support my sister plan. And I got to say, peace to Haiti. If my sister Matilda listening, I want you to comment in the bottom. I think her family was affected by what happened in Haiti, and I was hoping she would call in too. And brother Pelez, I'm not sure, but her family is hurting out there, so she might have her cash app in there. And Blue, I'm gonna get you to put your cash app in the comments after the show. So make sure y'all show respect, show some love, and we got to start helping each other, because we are all we got at the end of the day. And I'll close it out by saying, God bless I think everybody should listen to Patrice Lumumba's Independence Day speech, because he understood that just saying that you're free is not real freedom, but taking the action of freedom, like my sister Blue is doing, like my brother Bakari is doing, and like a lot of other people is doing, taking actual movements and doing things to provide services for the people that is actually needed. There's no way around that, and we have to start doing that. And at the end of the day, we are all we got. And until we act like it, then we're going to keep being in the same situation. But I appreciate everybody for listening. My sister Raw, Melanie Always, my sister Erica Howard, Shanique Ford, um, JB, Foundational Black American. I appreciate all of y'all, man. Anybody that I missed, much love to Brother Bakari, much love to you, Blue, for coming through, dropping that knowledge. You was killing it, like always. And like always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.